Welcome to 100 Yards of Football this evening. We have a special video this evening. We're going to have an interview with one of the top NFL trainers. He comes from Athletic Innovations. He's out of the 662, Holly Springs, Mississippi. My man, Mr. Clifford Brown. He also trains Levante David, linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who won a Super Bowl ring this past season in 2021. And also joining me on this interview is a very talented gentleman. He's an NFL scout at one time, 4 years with the New York Jets under Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick. And he was a finalist in 2017 for the GM job with the Green Bay Packers, Mr. Daniel Kelly. And I'm Vincent Turner. So if you like the video this evening, please come in and share it as we bring Mr. Cliff Brown, who I consider is the best in the business. So, Mr. Kelly, you can get the interview started this evening with this very talented young man from my part of the country, the 662 Springs.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Turner. Thank you, Mr. Turner. Welcome to the show, Mr. Brown. I'm from the 612 up in Minnesota, so I feel left out.
Yeah, you get snow. You don't count.
I don't count. I'm a non-factor. Absolutely. But no, hey, welcome to the show. It was awesome when you introduced me to Levante David about a month ago, right before the Super Bowl. Had a chance to do that SI piece. Really appreciate that. It was awesome meeting him and also hearing from you what you guys do. If I can start, Mr. Brown, just by asking, just simply, what is Athlete Innovation, sir?
Athlete Innovation, we're a performance group located down here in Tampa, Florida. We take more so the approach of total athlete development. We like to educate our guys, not only just on the physical training, but also on the mental and spiritual part as well. More so like a family than we are just, a training facility or whatnot. We get very close and build relationships with our guys. And the things that we give to our athletes are things that not only carry over into high performance on the day-to-day, but also carry over into aspects of post-football. And I think that's a misconception and hidden piece in athletic performance, where we have the platform, we have these guys, and we get to learn them and see what their insecurities, their fears, their doubts, their likes, dislikes, all those things are. And we kind of infuse those things in a training setting. It's almost one of those things where you have to experience it to see it. But when you go through it, you'll get more of a gist and a feel to it.
That's awesome, Cliff. And those things you're pointing out too, I know from my scouting days with the New York Jets, those things are very important to know, what's going on, because like I always say, the game is won or lost from the neck up. So, I mean, that in a lot of cases. So that's very, very important to know and important to do with the athletes. If we could, Cliff, let's touch on for a moment, how your brand was built and your background story. I personally, like Mr. Turner pointed out, I love your story coming out of college yourself as a wide receiver, and also what you did in Indianapolis, hand out those DVDs on the street. I can relate to that because I've stood in those very lobbies of those hotels shaking hands with all the who's who of the NFL. That's how I almost got hired by Andy Reid by the Philadelphia Eagles in 2012. So I know what it's like to beat those streets in Indy out there. So by the hamburger joint and all those places. So tell us, Cliff. I mean, it's a really interesting story. If you could let our listeners know what your background story is and how the brand was built, would be awesome.
I went to Marion University. I won the national championship, small NAIA school. I won the national championship in just 5 years in existence with a great team under Coach Ted Karras. Coach Teddy K, man, I love Coach Karras. He was one of those guys that just gave me a shot. And he didn't look at my size. I mean, I'm on the smaller end of the spectrum. I was a 5'7" back. But he gave me a chance. He gave me an opportunity just to display, my heart and talent. Unfortunately, my senior year, I ended up breaking my arm. So I missed my last year, sat out 1 year post graduation just to rehab my arm. And then I kind of gave this thing a swing as far as wanting to venture in and becoming a pro, just like any other kid. Man, you play football your whole life. You want to see what you got up against the best of the best. And things got really rough for me in Indianapolis, man, where I was just trying to venture out and figure out, what's life all about? How do you get into the pros coming from where I'm from and my neighborhood and, coming from a small school and everything else where I don't have much backing and support just like everyone else. And And so I just crafted this plan. I was like, okay, I got the mecca of football right here in my backyard. Like there's no, like everyone's coming to see me at this point in time. I don't think there's a combine. I think everyone's coming to Indianapolis to see me. So I just came up with this grand scheme of just creating my own business cards and DVDs and just going out, and I'm literally just passing them out to anybody that had a logo on, just walking around, just handing out the DVDs. And I had a big coat on. I remember I had this big bubble coat on, and I had them tucked away right here. And I remember walking up to people, I would pull one out and they thought I had a gun, and they would jump around. They were like, hey, whoa. I'm like, no, it's just a DVD. I'm just trying to get a DVD. It was so weird, like now looking back at it, and I was like, what was I thinking? Like, you don't walk up to somebody like, hey, I gotta talk to you real quick. But you know, I was just that hungry and eager for opportunity, man. And I'm one of those people that I don't ask for help. Well, I didn't ask for help, and I was just ashamed to ask for help. So that was probably one of the biggest cries for help for me personally, just to try to progress and move forward and try to figure out, you know, what is the plan that God has for my life. And by the grace of God, I actually ended up connecting with one of the coaches for the Cincinnati Bengals. And he was like, hey, if you go over to this place and you train in this place, you know, we can take a look at you and maybe get your workout here in Cincinnati. So I'm just gung-ho happy about it. Like, yeah, I'm staying in Indianapolis on a couch with one of my buddies. And I was driving from Indianapolis to Cincinnati for this company where I actually did an internship. I did the back and forth commute for probably about 3 months. And then I was like, you know what? I could really focus in on training if I just move there. So then I move into this hotel and I'm like, all right, I got to train every day, get ready for this opportunity that never came. And one of the things I kept doing was, it was all I knew was I found the love for helping other athletes try to improve in their performance. So I ended up doing an internship that was supposed to be 3 months. It actually turned into 8 months. And I was working at Nike full time just to pay for the hotel. And I remember going in one day into the facility after Nike, after an early morning shift. And I went into the facility and they go, hey, they need to see you down there at Paul Brown Stadium. So I go down there, hop down there, and I get connected with Chip Morton, who was the head strength and conditioning coach for the Bengals there. We hit it off, had a great relationship, and he actually brought me in on staff. So I was actually there for 2 years. And then, you know, just like any other job in the NFL, you know, and if people don't know, you know now, you live long enough just to get fired. And that's what interns end up happening with me. And during that time, man, I just gathered my headspace about what I wanted to do and, you know, the vision that I wanted for my life. And because God had blessed me so and brought me so far. And I'm like, okay, where do I really want to go? What is a desire for me? And one of the things that I wanted to do is I wanted to create, you know, something for athletes for a piece of the game that was missing. And that's how Athlete Innovations actually sprung about. And my business is centered around innovations because it's more so about change. I want to change not only the athlete from a physical standpoint, but also want to change the culture for the athletes as well, to understand that when you're here and you're part of this is something that's going to change your life forever. Not just football related, but it changed your life forever and helps you, you know, become a part of something as far as like a family atmosphere that you'll never forget. So guys always will be back. That's my approach to things.
That's awesome, Cliff. And I know that obviously with you attracting talent such as Levante David to train with, and I know you're doing a great job doing just that. You know, it's kind of funny when you talk to about, 2 years in the NFL. My old boss, Bill Parcells, had a saying. He said 2 years in the NFL is a lifetime.
Yeah. Man, look, I'm telling you, because it's a long grind. It's such a long grind.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I don't think people really understand. They go, oh, you know, would you want to go back into the NFL or anything like that? I was like, that's exhausting. Like, that's exhausting. It's a lot. But, you know, it's rewarding, man. You don't think about it. You just keep working.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And also too, when you talk about God and everything, it goes through my heart. You know, Proverbs 16:9, in his heart, a man plans his ways, but the Lord orders his steps. And that's why I see so clearly in your life. But thank you for sharing all that. Mr. Turner, I know that you have some questions for Mr. Brown, and take it away.
Well, Mr. Brown, again, I want to say thank you for coming on our show this evening. I'm going to say this. My parents are from the state of Mississippi, so I'm gonna say this to you personally. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
And I'm proud how you represent the region from the bottom of my heart. And man, being from that region, you're only 40 miles from my hometown. People down there don't understand that we work down there. And I like the point that you just said. We don't ask nobody to help us do nothing. That's what the way of the Mississippi way and the Tennessee way down there on the Mississippi River. Hardworking people that work to the end. Now, there's 3 things I pulled out of your bio that I want you to comment on because I was very impressed. The first thing, reinventing yourself. Then number 2, I like this point most of all, being humble enough to learn new skills. To me, are you mature enough and do you want to be great to learn and be able to coach? And finally, the mindset, strong foundation. Because I know you being from the Delta, you got to be strong because my mother's from Sunflower, so you know I'm coming from. Explain that to me, and then I have one more point I'm going to bring up to you. Explain that to our audience.
Well, I'll start with mind frame first and foremost. For me, I was always raised to be strong mentally by my parents, Clifford Brown Sr. and Sharon Brown. Just keep your head in the game and keep working. One of the things my mom always taught me, she goes, where lies the head, so goes the body. You know, the moment that you get defeated here, everything crumbles. Just like anything else, it starts at the top and it works its way down, just like the body. So I take that approach in my day-to-day with the guys. I break them down mentally sometimes. And you just got to battle it. They're so mad and they cuss and flip off and whatever. And I'm like, okay, we'll survive it, because you're going to have to beat some other stuff and you're going to take a strong mind. So, I like to take that mission statement upon my own shoulders. There's days that I'm tired. I'm not at my best, but I understand that I have to be at my best because of where I am. So that's where I feel like that is the most important thing outside of any other physical trait or anything else that you can have is a strong mind. The other piece, being humble enough to understand that I don't know everything. And I've gotten to a point, where God had to knock me on my knees and make me understand that I do need help. And being okay with saying, okay, I need help, because what I soon came to realize is that none of us are all perfect. And while I thought everyone else was perfect and I wasn't, because I wasn't where I needed to be, that was a struggle for me. But now, I'll show my scars. If there's something wrong with me, I have a flaw, it is what it is. Dissect it. I will own it as well. That's a part of having a strong mind, is being able to own up to the things that, that aren't strengths for you. And being able to lean on that. And that's why you keep strong people around yourself, such as Mr. Kelly and whatnot. You get people that come along and, believe in you as long as you keep working, and, they'll help you see your vision all the way through to the finish line.
And then finally with me this evening, I have a thing what I've kept on throughout my years. I call it the greatest people from the state of Mississippi, because it's homage to my mother and father who are still living. My dad, who's 84, he's from Canton. My mother's from Sunflowers, 82. And I always keep a list. So I'm going to tell you this evening, 100 yards of football, you made that list. And you in a company of a lot of great people that I keep that list. I'm going to start with the young man from Gulfport, Mississippi, Lynn Barney. Then I'm going to start with the young man from Columbia, Mississippi. A lot of people didn't think when he came in the league in 1975, he wasn't going to be nothing. But he ended up back ever by the name of Sweetness Walter Payton. Then another young man came out of Crawford, Mississippi in the 85 draft. A lot of people asked Bill Watts, what are you doing taking this young man from Crawford from a small school in Mississippi Valley? And to me, he's pound for pound the best player, Rice, that came in Mississippi. Then Mr. Steve McNair. Then Mr. L.C. Greenwood. Then Mr. Hugh Green. Then Mr. Fletcher Cox. Then Mr. Willie Brown. And then I'm going to go into Mr. Morgan Freeman, Mr. James Earl Jones, and finally, my hero, Mr. B.B. King. To you, this Mr. Cliff Brown, you made that list of the greatest people that came out of our beautiful state, the state of Mississippi. And thanks for coming on Yards of Football.
Thank you,
I'm watching your career, and I'm going to follow you. And don't get off your dream, because it's water in Mississippi, baby, from the 662 and the 901. and I'm proud of it.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, that's really cool.
Take it
Now,
over,
I had a couple.
Mr. Kelly.
So I said what?
Absolutely, absolutely. I had a couple follow-up questions
No,
for you too.
we
That's
lost
some good stuff.
Now we're back.
Now I'm here. A couple follow-up questions for you too. Great stuff, by the way, Mr. Turner. That's awesome. And some great points you had there. But Mr. Brown, I had a couple questions. I want to bounce back for a moment to athlete innovations, if I could. If you could let us know, what do you offer or specialize in, sir?
So we offer NBA and NFL combine prep. The thick of my business is, of course, been built upon NFL just because of my background. But I've also ventured into basketball as well. So helping guys, get into the professional ranks is something that's been a passion of mine. I understand the life-changing opportunities, and there's just a few things that I feel like those elite college players are always missing. That unlocks things for them to, make their dreams come true. So we do it not only on the NFL side, but we also do it on the NBA as well. One of the biggest emphasis that, my reputation been built on are the guys that need to run fast and that speed emphasis. So that's been something that's kind of been the center focus of what I've produced the most results about. And guys that come to me, man, they got to run well. So that's one of the things, that I make sure that, you come here, we tap on everything. We make sure that you're a complete athlete, but you got to be able to play at a fast pace because there are such minimum standards in the NFL and the NBA. A guy that's just quicker advances better. And that's just the truth in the nature of sports. So, that's what we kind of gear towards.
That's very cool. And my last question for you, sir, is what is the vision? Vision is so important when it comes to companies, businesses, anything really in life. Where are you trying to go, and where is Athlete Innovations trying to go?
Well, I would like to build something that has a strong reputation as every other performance facility, the facility you can name them off the top of your head, with that kind of reputation and stigma behind them. And just being able to produce good works and having, the testimonies that follow. But kind of building a family not only that's based on that, but also building something a little bit bigger than just beyond training. I would like to be able to create something, that's a one-stop shop for athletes, that one day, if you need an agent, the right agent's going to be important. If you need the top dietitian and learning about nutritional education, that person's here. Everything that you need top tier for an athlete is basically one-stop shop, and having that here. And that's the mission that I'm built on, and in due time, when God blesses the hands and, puts the right pieces in place, it'll be there. And we're starting small and we're growing. I feel like we're on the right path and making the right connections and everything. But, ultimately one day we want to be there where we're the industry leaders in everything in sports.
That's awesome.
Okay,
Mr. Turner, did you have any final questions?
Yeah, I'm going to let you handle your final question, then I'm going to wrap it up after you, sir.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, one last question. Let's say right now, Mr. Brown, there's NFL players watching this right now, and I know that your field is very competitive. If you could talk to that athlete right now, talk to that NFL or professional, athlete, that professional football player, and kind of speak to them on why they should, train with you, and what do you offer that's maybe unique.
Well, like I said, we're a family here. We're the group to make sure that you're okay on and off the field. You build a long-lasting relationship that's here, just in a comfortability standpoint and being here. This is one of the places where, man, you can let your hair down, man, and enjoy, the fruits of your labor. But at the same time, this is somewhere where we're going to push you. We're going to push you to be better every single day. You're not going to like it. We're going to hold you accountable, not only for myself, but you also see that the team that's around us and everybody that's a part of the family, we're holding you accountable. And this is the place where we compete. That's the biggest thing that I feel like is missed in training on a day-to-day is the ability to compete. You got to be better than you were last year, or you got to be better than you were yesterday, because every day you're fighting for your job. So we like to push people and compete here. And we do that in a fun manner.
Okay, Mr. Kelly, you finished with the gentleman that's in, Mr. Clifford Brown?
Yes, sir. Some great
Okay.
answers.
Well, Mr. Brown, as Mr. Kelly did an outstanding job. Very informative questions. Very proud of Mr. Kelly. Just outstanding job. But my final words to you as we're going to wrap up 100 yards of football this evening is this. Man, keep doing what you're doing because I see greatness. And I see somebody's from my region. And you don't know on the last couple of days how you've been inspiring from me, because it's a lot of people don't know a lot about down there on the south, down there near the Mississippi River, down there where Bill Street, down there where the flatlands are in the Delta. Now, so I want to throw Archie Manning. He made a great list of all Mississippians with a list you've been on the night that I put you on. But my thing is to you, man, and kudos. I'm going to go back when I was 13 years old. And I watched two gentlemen that represented our area by the name of Ashley Hayes and David Porter when they started Stack Records. And they had that soundtrack when it came out, Shaft. And they said Shaft was a bad mama jammer. I see Mr. Cliff Brown in the next few years being that bad mama jammer on the NFL level as the most powerful trainer in all of the National Football League. And you coming from my area, my brother, you don't know how much pride I am this evening of you. So you stay strong, stay focused, and keep doing what you're doing, because you got one brother from the 901 that loves what you're doing. And you know what I'm saying from the Delta, because it's something in the water in Mississippi. I got it in me. It's in my blood. It's in your blood. So thank you this evening for coming on 100 Yards Football, and many blessings and prayers. If you like the video this evening, please comment and share it. I'd like to thank Mr. Daniel Kelly for joining me this evening. And my man, remember his name. I'm going to say Clifford Brown of Athlete Innovation. He's the next great thing coming out of Holly Springs, Mississippi, by way of Memphis T. Y'all be blessed this evening. And thank you for watching 100 Yards of Football.
Be blessed. Thank you, Mr. Brown.
God bless.